Welcome to yet another Beyond the Blue chat. Very, very thrilled to have with me today Bryne and Janice Rodrigues. Welcome, Bryne and Janice. I've been waiting for you to come onto this chat.
In fact, Ms. Gopika, thank you very much, for having us on this platform. And in fact, it's a very different kind of a feeling, because we have been connected from years back when we used to visit Umeed. And now we are so happy and glad, that we are in front of the faculty which has been training us over the years. And over here, we like to make a mention, especially for yourself, Kohli ma'am, as well as Miss Parul Kumta, say Miss Seema Ganju. So all these people have been so instrumental, in our journey that thanks to you all, I can say, you all have been good teachers. That one day, we are here in front of you,
Thank you, but you're a real inspiration. And I think you are known as the parents of Joanne and Brydan, which I know you are very proud to be known as. So basically just a little bit about the Rodrigues family. Their journey began way back in 2009 when their daughter Joanne was diagnosed with autism. They were expecting their second child then, their son Brydan, and he was also found to be on the spectrum. Which turned their lives completely upside down. They moved back to Mumbai. They were living in Dubai then, moved back to Mumbai in 2013 and started their own business of advertising to give more time to their kids. So I know for a fact that Bryne even works at odd hours at night so that he could make time for his kids. And as we are taping this chat, I know that they've been up since 5:30 in the morning so that they can finish all their work before the kids wake up. Thank you so much for making the time for me. And after many years of struggle, now I think Rodrigues, Mama and Papa, again, like us, I said, I'm very proud to say that they're the parents of Joanna and Brydan. And why not? Because these kids have a huge list of achievements to their credit, including the Guinness Book of World Record for skating, the Asia Pacific Book of Records for skating, open deep sea swimming at the state level, and again, fitness competitions, cooking competitions, dance competitions. And now what they're doing is that what is truly commendable is that they are using their story, their family, their journey to share the story of their lives on a YouTube channel called Autism and Beyond, A Positive Journey. And their motto in life is see the able, not the label. So thank you again very, very much for coming onto this chat. I wanted to ask you, starting out, having two kids on the spectrum must have been beyond hard. Initially dealing with the diagnosis, when you have one child, it is difficult. When you are faced with a situation where there are two on the spectrum, what were your feelings and how did you deal with it? When you both found out about both?
Well, initially it was a turmoil, and we have no regrets in saying that we did go also in a denial phase, like every other family, I think. And I think that's very normal, and I think that's important as well. So while, as you said earlier, while Joanne was diagnosed, I was already carrying Bryden. And, then we started our journey and we said, okay, let's see what's in store. And by the time we could actually go and understand autism, I mean, not completely, but at least get a gist, because none of us, I think we never even heard of the word autism,
right.
So it was a complete different world. And by the time we got to know and tried our best to start learning, researching, then the big bomb came in that Bryden too was on the spectrum. And back then in Dubai, they wouldn't label a child till 5 years that the child on the spectrum. They would just say maybe ADHD or so.
Right.
And as per every family, what they go through, we have got seniors in the family, we have got friend circle. who will keep giving your saying that no kids delay in talking.
Yeah,
That is,
exactly.
even doctors for that matter,
Yeah.
like no, he even told like no, see, my assistant who is there, she spoke at say 5 or 6 years.
Right,
Imagine that. That is what
right,
happened at, and we were in a dilemma at that moment as to where do we go? Should we wait till 5 6 years and see if they are really going to speak or something, or like look at interventions, because there was hardly any sort of support system, anything available,
right.
and uh, therapies were also like say closed door therapies going on, so there was nothing much that we could do. And like now what is happening really, like with professionals and parent professions like you, there is so much of empowerment happening now that parents are learning what they need to do.
Right.
So it's
I
a big
agree with you.
difference then and now.
True, very true. Very, very true. So,
And as to what
yeah,
you mentioned,
yeah,
about both the kids, okay, coming back to that, see, when Bryden was, say, about 3 years, apart from after we got to know about both on the spectrum and all, things used to be so very difficult that we used to see Bryden as if, like, there is a spirit come upon him, like,
that's what you said, and I was just thinking that this is something which is so, something so typical of the people who live on the Indian subcontinent. That this thing of that when where there's superstition and religion is so much a part of what we feel, and it's so much how we view our children also.
Exactly, because see, since we have not come across anything like that,
Exactly.
and a child at 3 years having so much of energy, like that we both couldn't control him, we both were on top of him literally, and we couldn't, and we ended up putting say holy water on him, all these things, like because this sort of behaviors probably like we would have seen in
Movies.
the movies, like the horror movies.
Right. Yeah.
So that is
And
was
Bryne,
coming
if
from.
I can just add, this is something which is still there in parts of our country where, there is not much awareness, where people still feel that way. And then the child misses out on so much intervention.
Yes.
Exactly. Because see, till what we felt, then later on now, like since we are speaking a lot about advocacy, etc., that it is quite normal if I don't share what I have gone through. So parents may be going through the same turmoil, but then when you find a fellow parent who's relating the same incidents, that gives some sort of a solace.
Yes.
That yes, there is a family like who has gone through this, and this is what we try to we need to open up as much as possible.
And you won't believe, Miss Gopika, what happens is there are parents who even just call us and tell us, I've had this today. So when I just tell them, or we just tell them, we've gone through the same thing few years back. Oh my God, you should see the positivity that comes out from the parent. I just called you to understand whether you also went through the same thing. So it makes a big difference, like talking to our own fraternity. And I think with due respect to all our therapists and doctors out there, but only a person who has been in the same boat can resonate.
Absolutely.
So it makes a big difference. I think psychologically, it gives you a boom, a boost that yes, we are going to, and then they look at us like, okay, that shouldn't have reached Guinness Book of World Records, and so, but we tell them that it's not a benchmark here. Your child can do better. I mean, or can, but it should never be a benchmark. And we did go through the same struggles, and we are glad that we can share that, to bring light and to bring hope in someone's house or in family.
That's so lovely and so wonderful of you, and I'm so glad that you're doing this. But initially it was a real struggle, like you said, where you were sacrificing a lot. You moved back to India, you left Dubai, you came back to India, you started up on your own, you sacrificed so much. You're working all these odd hours, no time for yourself. How did you tell me about that phase in your life? How did you keep going at that point of time?
So, well, what we would start with saying that, as you said earlier, we were in Dubai, and I was born and brought up there. So that was my first home, you could say, and our children were also born there. The decision to come back to India was a crucial one. But then, as most of the parents here, we give our children priority. So we did our research and we understood that intervention is a better in Mumbai. So this is why we moved here. And believe me, the initial years were not easy because not only the children, I think we also had our own struggles to adapt, to a new atmosphere. Even Bryne was there for about 2 decades or so. So, lifestyle change, a lot of things.
It was a new transformation, completely different into the way of life, and the way of working, for example, Janice used to initially tell me, what country has we have come to, kind of, because of the typical, people would say, okay, I'm coming, and then they switch off the mobile.
Yeah.
So, that was a phase, but then, as we say, Mumbai ke rang mein hum rang gaye.
Well put.
Yeah, that is how it is, be a Roman when in Rome. So we got used to it, and yes, India has shown us pretty good days, and we have all positivity and no regrets, for taking such a crucial decision in the peak of our careers.
That's really amazing, and I think what you just said about positivity. So I think when I think of your family, that's what I think about, positivity. So tell me about your family. What was it like when this all started, and what are things like at home now? What is the difference between the way it was and how it is? What a day in the life of the Rodrigues family at home now?
In fact, earlier in life, when kids were small, it was a very, very difficult part, having both the kids on the spectrum, and both the kids were poles apart,
They're still poles apart.
Yeah, because
we have got around it.
Yeah, because Brydan was an auditory seeking child.
Okay.
Joanna on the other side, she was a visual child. So bridging the gap in between, it was a very, very difficult situation.
Yes, but I think if I can say here, our children have taught us to be the individuals we are right now. I think we have, as individuals, evolved.
Right.
So with all these years of challenges and success and whatever it may be, we have been and we are still the individuals that we are. Like, if somebody would know me a few years back, I was a very impatient person, and now
I can vouch for it.
And now it's like, I think I've taken myself to another level. So let me start by saying that, we work as a unit, and we are the Rodrigues family, as everybody knows. And we are, a team that works together. So even daily in the house chores or anything that happens, we try and involve everybody together. If not everybody, at least 3 of us or 2 of us. We don't work individually. We do not. And the most important thing is that we don't have any gender bias here. Like, there's nothing like, only I do the cooking or I do the household chores, or only Bryne works, which is a normal myth in the society. It is that we just work as we have to do things. And it's not a help that we call. We all like to do things together.
And the difference between then and now was, at that moment, probably looking at the aggressiveness and us not understanding the children the way they think, we also used to lose our cool very frequently, where we used to give certain commands to Bryden or certain commands to Joanne, and if they were not following.
Yeah.
Because we have always been in a typical environment, and such kind of things is very difficult to digest.
Very true.
So we used to lose our cool, get angry. We used to raise our hand at times, on Bryden or say Joanne, because we were not understanding, because we were still in the learning phase. But as time progressed, and as Janice said, we started evolving. We started, taking a back, understanding them. Okay, we started taking life a bit, in an easy way, looking at things, and that is when we started understanding them and started looking at the world from their eyes. That is when the real realization and the transformation came in us, not them. Because this is so very important, because all the time we want our kids to change for us, but then they are struggling and going through so many challenges that at times they are not able to express them. So and we as say NT individuals, we can regulate ourselves. So why don't we, like as we say, if you want to shake a hand, why don't we take a step ahead, try to enter the world and see, there will be a lot of positivity coming in. That is what we realize, and that has brought a transformation between then and now what we are doing it together as a family.
Very true. That's absolutely really, really amazing. And it really reminds me of something which I actually read on Mary Barua's Facebook wall, and I'm just looking at it, and it says, people do not suffer from a disability, they suffer because of it. We, the non-disabled, make the world hard for the disabled. And I just realized that that is so true, and what you said echoes so much with what she has put up, right? I mean, it's really what you said is we changed the way we look. So it really, I think, if it can be called this, the beauty about any sort of disability or having a child with any sort of disability is it changes your whole perspective and turns everything upside down. That this is not, why should everything have to be perfect in this way, right? Why can't it be what you have is perfect? And I think that is something which a lot of parents, and I have experienced this too, where my whole idea of what is a perfect family, what are perfect children, what is a perfect life, what it takes to be happy, is something which has changed completely, because you realize that the here and now is what is important. But
because
go ahead.
Perfection is something which is a very relative term. It changes from person to person, environment to environment, situation to situation. It's same thing with happiness.
Very true. Very true.
It is so relative. So we understood when we used to go for so many therapies. We used to see, parents who were literally carrying their children and bringing them for therapies, So we started looking at the things the other way, see, there are so many things that you can look up to and be unhappy.
Yeah, very true.
But then we can look up so many areas and so many factors of people who are less fortunate than us. That is when you will really be happy and contented, and you will look at positivity and move forward.
Very true. Very true. So, when we were talking, we had said that this is what we're talking about is the positivity, the warmth, the optimism. But like we said, that everyone out there on your YouTube channel, on my Instagram, on everything, everyone sees the sort of happy, perfect side of it in that sense. And everybody would look at you and say, oh, this is so inspiring, and you're so brave and all so strong, or whatever it is. But nobody sees behind that, right? Nobody sees the scratches, nobody sees the stress, nobody sees the tears, the sleepless nights, the worry, the bites, all the things which any parent of a child with autism knows, that this is the reality, that this is what it's like. How do you on a day-to-day basis deal with these challenges that you are faced with? Because on the one hand, there is, of course, I totally believe that if you change your lens through which you view the world, through which you view your children, of course, your whole perspective changes, and that optimism becomes a part of your DNA, so to speak. But there are also the challenges. There is the anxiety. There is all these other things and behaviors and acting up and hyperactivity and all that. how do you deal with it on a day-to-day basis? What is it that keeps you going?
In fact, whatever achievements of the children comes, it is like times two, since both the kids they achieve together kind of, and whatever challenges also come times two.
That's true.
Yeah,
Very
and
true.
having said that, and these challenges are not the same because as we mentioned earlier, both the kids are different. Okay, so Joanne has got certain challenges, like for example, Janice has taught her things to do the right way, the perfect way, and she has picked up as a good child. She knows how to do it. Okay, but then what happens is Bryden, on the other hand, his computer boots a bit later. So it's like, if we're giving an instructions, probably over a period of time, we have understood that he will take, say, 30 seconds to understand, and then he will act. But when he acts, he wants it like in perfection.
Right.
Actually, what I would say here is that why the computer boots a little later is because he's planning it in a perfect way. What happens with Joanna, she's a target-based child. You tell her something, she'll go and she'll finish it. But with Bryden, it's just the opposite.
Right.
He does it so systematically. Yes, and he does it at his own pace, which initially we thought like, come on, hurry up, Bryden. But then we started realizing that why? Why do we want him to hurry up? I mean, he's doing it his own way, he's doing it well. And there are people who can do things at their own pace. If you call it slow, fast, it doesn't matter as long as the target or the activity is complete. So we started, giving our children that space. I mean, there's a lot of understanding on this. Every night we sit, both of us sit and we try and analyze, if there was a meltdown or if no meltdown or whatever, we analyze what has happened during the day. And this helps us, it's sort of a tiny research that helps, take us across.
See, what happens is, coming back to your question is, so this also results into an aggression and meltdown that Bryden is not doing it fast, like how I did. Joanne gets into a meltdown.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
She gets into aggression, and then she starts getting physical sometimes with us.
Right.
Okay, and over a period of time, we have realized, to keep a straight face, no emotions, no smiling, no sadness, nothing like that. We will just not look at her, and she's attacking us. But we know that if these meltdowns are there, then the first thing is that it will not last, say, more than 5 minutes.
True.
So we have understood, that first of all, we need to maintain the safety of the child and us for those 5 minutes. And after those 5 minutes are passed, and it's the remaining 23 hours, 55 minutes of the day are excellent.
Right.
So what happens is we try to control that, because see, if she doesn't get any reaction from us, then the next target at times is Bryden.
Right.
So we need to maintain her safety, our safety, as well as Bryden's safety.
Yes. Yes. Very true.
So there are so many of these challenges which are there together, when it comes to aggressions, meltdowns. So we have got, as you rightly mentioned, a lot of the families out there that we have a lot of marks on our bodies, scratches, the bites, etc. There were times that people would ask Janice, initially, why she used to wear long sleeves
Right.
when we used to go to school, etc. But then these were the black and blue marks at home.
That's true. Very true.
So that is how is the life,
That is true.
And besides, I think as we spoke earlier, now, there are, I think, a little more challenges with Joanne because she's growing, she's entering into her puberty, and she's entering into the teenage, or she's already a teenage, and she wants a lot of control, she wants things her way, or she wants to give control in the house on Bryden, and she knows she's the elder sister or the so-called mother, maybe also at home. So there's a lot, going around with our children as well. And if I start going back and thinking about my days,
Yeah.
What was I as a teenager? Maybe I also had, but of course we were the so-called disciplined kids, maybe, if I can say.
Or else we can say we knew how to regulate ourselves.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. And also social acceptance and, was very important to us. Whereas with these kids, this is not something which really comes into play for them.
Yes. And there's one more thing I would like to add about coping up with the entire situation or the days is that it's very important that we as parents also take our me time. That we need our mental well-being so that we can cope with these, whatever it may be, challenges, success, joys, whatever it may be. So this is how the coping happens so far.
Okay.
So we get so connected, because so many parents call us, because they are going through a similar phase. And it becomes such a nice thing, like, talking even about the challenges.
Right.
When we relate with each other, that probably, it's not that they come to us and we are giving advice. There are so many things that we learn, there's a lot of exchange of ideas. Even when we reach out to, senior parents, there is so much of learning happening. Only the thing is that we as parents need to open up.
Yes, very, very true. Absolutely. And because your challenges feel lighter then, when you
exactly
open up. So that absolutely, you're absolutely right. So, I have often felt, and this is something which has been written about in the past as well, that autism really not only does it, the impact on the child very often is not the only impact that happens, right? In all cases, it is a ripple effect. So it happens on the family, society, etc. And also that, especially in India, where there is so little awareness and where, like you said, people don't open up about the challenges that they are facing, it is viewed as also something which impacts the family socially. Okay, because what happens is that the family will say, we don't know how our children are going to act when we take them to a wedding, to a birthday party, to the mall. And so what very often, a lot of families I've also seen, they keep the child at home only, or they don't go out. And so really all those social connections get cut off. So what is the Rodrigues family like, social life like? How do you manage your extended family, relatives, friends, various people around you?
In fact, see, we as human beings, we are all social people.
Yes.
Okay, we need people next to us, whether it is a good times, not so good time, whatsoever. But then having two kids on the spectrum, we have understood one thing, that we as parents need each other. Okay, people will come, people will go. We should understand our priorities. We have even come to certain this thing, that there has been rift in relationships, very, very close relationships also. But then we need to move on because we know what is our ultimate aim, what is there.
Yes.
But having said that, see, what we do is generally we expose our kids as much as possible. Whether it is a party or whether any social gatherings, functions, everywhere,
Right.
Because Joanne earlier, she was a very, since she was a visual child, she couldn't take loud sounds.
She was sensitive towards sound.
Very sensitive to sound. She would just close her ears and all that, when there used to be sounds. But then also there was another challenge over here because Bryden being an auditory seeking child, he loved loud music.
Right.
So it used to be very difficult, to regulate that thing at home. One child wants something, other child doesn't want something.
Yeah.
So somehow, we started having a nice country music at home.
Okay.
Okay. So they regulated themselves.
And talking about family and extended family or whatever, here I'd like to mention a few things. There were people initially who came to us and said, you have two children who are like this. God has really done something wrong to you. And at that point of
Why
time,
did God this thing, do this thing to you? Like, no?
yes,
Already we are going through a challenge, like,
Yes,
and these people
yeah.
again.
Coming in.
yeah,
Right.
and it was like those questions coming up, why me, why me? But I think with our persistence, consistency, we turn those tables and now we say, yes, it's us. And those same people,
We still see these are some
These are
people
some-
like, no, which you cannot erase from your memory. Like, you know.
maybe
Of
you
course.
forgive them, but you forget,
Absolutely.
and the same people came back to us after the Guinness Book of World Records. Oh, your children are stars. So
Yes.
look at the irony. This is how acceptance goes. This is why we are trying to give back to the community, that we have gone through this.
Yes.
And, it has not been easy with family. Now, of course, I mean, we educate people, we try and tell all our family members what is the scenario. Like when earlier, before the corona, even when I used to take our children to a party or whatever, I used to take pictures ask them to send us pictures. We have to do our homework, right?
Yes.
So prepare, because Bryden was at that point of time very fixed with the schedules. So
Right.
people they have seen that he used to go into a meltdown even outside,
Right.
not entering the house and things like that. So with family and not only family, maybe our friends also, close friends, this is what we've experienced. So now it's the tables have turned, and they say, okay, Joanne can do this so well, my daughter can't do is what I'm talking about.
Right.
80 kids,
Right.
my daughter can't do this, and then the comparison goes with that child.
Right.
And then
Yes.
I think, or I want to tell that parent that why are you comparing your child with our child? There is no comparison. Your child can do something that our children can't do.
Exactly.
So it's been a very good understanding with the extended family, with friends, and the complete society, I would say.
Because we have been very vocal, telling that yes, my kids are on the spectrum. These are the challenges that they have got. Because when our children go in front of someone and behave in a so-called socially inappropriate ways,
Right.
those people also are taken aback because all of a sudden they see something. But then when you tell these people, that yes, my child is like this, okay, then they will listen, they will understand, and they will try to regulate themselves.
Yes.
This is what has happened in the society that we are living in.
Yeah.
We have exposed them so much; they know our kids inside out, to such an extent that they were even called to hoist the Indian flag for Republic Day.
Oh, fabulous. That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's like that, that we need to educate people. Okay, we can't just do fault finding, that why are you talking like this? But then there is not so much of awareness, till you don't speak, people will not listen. That is what we feel. So it is so very necessary to be outspoken. Only then we also as parents will be accepted, not only our kids.
Very true. Very, very true. Absolutely. What you said is so right. And as you were speaking, I could totally resonate with what you were saying. I think all of us parents have been on more or less the same kind of journey.
True.
So it's something which I could totally resonate with. One question before we go. Marriage is something very few people talk about. I know that when I was writing my book and researching on marriage, there was very scary statistics thrown out there. From 30% to 80% of couples with children with autism get divorced. There are cracks in their marriage. There is, there are problems. How do you both? You both, when you speak, it's like one person is speaking because you're both so in sync with what you're saying. So how do you? How has it impacted your marriage, and how do you make time together to be together?
In fact, Ms. Gopika, you rightly mentioned, now the situation is come as in, that we both read each other's minds. She's thinking something, and I speak the same thing.
Right.
I would say here is that credit also goes to our children.
It goes to our children, not also. It goes to our children.
is, because of them, the unity has been so strong between both of us. And what Bryne was just saying is that we read each other's minds is because even our children can understand, I mean, sometimes I would want to give an instruction, and because sometimes I'm the devil of the house. So I try and want to tell Bryne to give the instruction, but Joanne is so overwhelmed and, she can actually read our minds. So we have tried to become actors, and, that I think has helped us with that mind reading, and I think basically just working together and understanding each other uh, has clicked it, I think.
A major thing, like what you mentioned, as for marriage. See, we do so many things, like in tandem with each other. Almost every night, every evening, like we sit together and discuss what is our next day's schedule.
Right.
We discuss on the challenges, what the kids are facing, and this has brought so much of understanding, because see, everywhere mostly it is always, that the mother is only toiling with the child. Okay, we need to pass on a message to society, like that we need to do together as a family, as one unit. It's not that one person has to work and the other person will just be a financer in the house.
Right.
So understanding this, has helped a lot in our marriage, because her friends are my friends are her friends. Okay. Secondly, Janice used to do some wonderful things, for example, like for my birthday, she'll give me surprises, as in my school friends from 25 years back, she'll get everyone on a Zoom call.
Okay.
Without me knowing. So imagine, these are 1 hour, say, in a year. But that has got so much of bonding that builds in, when you do something for your spouse.
Yeah.
And we need to, of course, we have got so many challenges during the day, but we need to know how to steal those moments of joy.
Yeah.
It's up to us, how much positive you can be despite the negativities. And having said that, we do a lot of things, for example, we get our me time probably when the kids are asleep. So we break rules at that moment.
Okay.
All of a sudden, we'll get up middle of the night, and say, put some series on Netflix. Okay. And the full night goes finish of that series.
Right.
And then we break all our diet patterns, we'll make sandwiches, cook Maggie, something that is 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in early morning. So these are small things, that you do, but then these go a long way.
Right.
Because throughout the day, we are just juggling in between our daily goals, between the kids, between the therapist, this has to be done, and the full, say, the visual schedule and all those things, that we need to take out time. Secondly, from what we started, as you mentioned about our YouTube channel, our Instagram channel. So we do a lot of those things together, and we do those things, that when the kids are asleep, and before they wake up.
Right.
So there's so much of discussion going on between them as to what are the things that will relate to other parents. There's so much of thinking going on in between. That is another reason, that what we are trying to do, advocacy or reaching to the fraternity, has helped both of us build up our own relationships.
Right.
There are a lot of fathers, who come and discuss with her. Mothers come and discuss with me. So it's indirectly these is some unseen facts, which is somewhere unknowingly building our bond together as a family.
If I just put it in short, it's like
sorry, we talk too much.
No, it's wonderful to hear this and so inspiring.
No, if I just put it in short, it's like majority of the day we are parents, and then the time we become couples is while the kids are asleep and we are doing our sort of thing that Bryne just mentioned. working together, or
I do the creative part. She's my proofreader. She'll check things. So a lot of things are happening, right?
Yeah.
No?
So I think that has strike a balance. Trying to understand each other's, and we still have a long way to go, because
We still have arguments.
Yeah.
During the day, we have arguments, but these are non-verbal arguments.
yeah, because
We speak more with isharas, as they say.
yeah, because children don't like that commotion, especially Joanne. She doesn't like that unpleasantness in the house. So we are, of course, there are days that, as we said, you can't always be a.
We can't always. You can't always show always a rosy picture.
Absolutely.
Which is very wrong, that spreading a wrong thing in community that yes, we are the best parents, we are doing the best of things. This is a roller coaster ride. There are ups and downs, and we tell a lot of parents, parents are especially anti kids, when we tell them about our struggles, and they say we understand your situation, but then we say sorry, you don't.
You don't. Exactly.
Yes.
Very true.
Come and stay 1 or 2 days in with us, and then you come and definitely you will like to amend your statement. Sorry, we don't understand.
Very true. Very true. Absolutely. No, this is so inspiring. Just one final thing before we go. What are your plans for the kids when they grow up?
See, this has been $1 million question for every family, as to about kids growing up or what after us, etc. What we have thought of connecting to various senior parents also is rather than thinking about what after us, we are more concentrating about what now. See, after us, yes, it will eventually fall in place, but then we are focusing on trying to get our kids as independent as possible in their ideal activities, because no matter how much of money you earn, tomorrow if we are not there, suppose if we look at the ugly truth that suppose Joanne and Brydan are in someone else's care,
right?
At least if Joanne is able to cook chapatis or cook food for something else, okay, then that person will always remember that what are the wonderful the parents have taught them, and these kids are doing such wonderful things. But then at the same time, if I keep crores and crores of rupees with for the children, and the children are not regulated or not independent, there will be a day when that person is say, I don't want this money, please get these children out of my sight.
Very, very, very true.
Yeah, basically, I think we are just at the moment aiming at functional, happy, and independent children or individuals in their life, So whatever they may be, whatever they take.
We have small goals, as we say, we have small dreams in life. We don't dream like the anti parents, etc. That my child has to become a doctor or this and that. There are probably a lot of doctors who are working at a call center.
Right.
So what is the point of doing all that? Let's take it easy, one day at a time. The pandemic has taught us so many things, that tomorrow we don't know what is your tomorrow.
Yes. And I think at the end of it, as I said, happy individuals and who can take care of themselves, who are not a liability, who are an asset in their lives, and for themselves as for the others, who can contribute to the society or to the community, as we are doing our advocacy here.
So much of confidence building is happening in our kids, when they are doing things on their own.
So they can advocate for themselves, they can give back to the society. I think that's enough. We don't have such
as of now.
As of now.
That's amazing, and they are such wonderful goals to have. All the very, very best to you. I think it has been really such an inspiring session today. I'm so inspired by your family, by the goals you have, by the bonding that you have, and I wish you all the very, very best. Thank you so much for being on this chat with me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gopika.
Thank you so
We
much.
wish to reach as many parents as possible, that yes, just a message, things are difficult. It is a roller coaster ride. There are good days and not so good days. But then be positive, and acceptance doesn't come by we shouting that please accept your child. It is always a self-realization. The day we self-realize that this is what our child wants, automatically the world is going to be changing in every family.
Yes, true. And it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much, Ms. Gopika. It's been a great relationship. We're talking to a teacher here and a student. It's really a pleasure. Thank you.
It's awkward to be Gyan, from there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.